Hi people, before I get stuck into today's video I've got a question. So Patrick Reed won the Masters, right? Obviously not the most popular winner there's ever been.
Hey, aren't you that guy everybody hates?
But I want to know who is your favourite golfer in the world and why. So let me know in the comments down below. Just to clarify, I do mean professional golfer. It's not a lot of use to me if you say, well, it's my mate Nigel who plays off 26 because he always brings us bacon sandwiches on a Sunday morning. Anyway, hopefully by now you'll have seen my match against Challenge Tour player Liam Robinson. The response to those videos has been fantastic, although it's been mainly people fawning over Liam, how good at golf he is, what a lovely guy he is. Doesn't it sound amazing when he hits a shot?
I'm not jealous, mind you.
But a lot of people have also commented saying that they learned things by watching those videos in terms of how he approaches a shot, how he plots his way around a golf course, how he would tackle certain situations. So that's obviously really good to hear that people are actually learning things by watching the videos. I learned so much from just playing that one round with him. Some of it happened off camera. I thought it would be useful if I rounded up everything that I learned from playing with him. Now, first things first, Liam is obviously just a much better golfer than me. If we both had 10 attempts at hitting the same shot, we'd end up choosing his attempt 8 or 9 times out of 10. Probably 10 actually. And me playing with him once isn't suddenly going to make me this incredible golfer who can hit the ball 360 yards off the tee and is ready to go on the Challenge Tour. And watching the videos, sadly, isn't going to do that for you either. But there is a lot of stuff that we can learn from these better players that I do genuinely think can help us score better. One thing I noticed was that the difference between our best shots wasn't actually that big. I mean, there were holes where I made birdie and Liam didn't. There were holes where I hit my approach shot closer than he did. And basically, if I hit a really good shot, there was no guarantee that he'd be able to match it or better it.
All right, nobody likes to show off.
But the difference between our bad shots was absolutely huge. My bad shots were really, really bad. Oh, beauty. Oh, that's Phil.
Oh. Oh. Oh no.
Whereas Liam's bad shots were generally still pretty solid golf shots. And I've made this point before in a video ages ago, but generally your score will be dictated a lot more by your worst shots than your best ones. I honestly think it's possible to shoot level par without hitting any particularly fantastic shots, as long as you don't hit any stinkers. And on the other hand, you could hit 10 really good shots in a round, but if you actually also hit 10 horror shows, you're going to end up quite a long way over par. So I guess my point is, what you need to work on is making your worst shots less bad, rather than making your best shots even better. Another big thing that I noticed was that Liam had a really obvious, clear plan for how he was going to tackle each shot and each hole. And that's something that every tour pro does to quite a detailed level. So you hear it quite often on TV, players and their caddies having quite long conversations sometimes about what club they're going to hit, what's the wind doing, where's the pin, exactly which part of the green they're going to try and land it on, are they aiming at that TV tower or that branch of that tree.
It's a 4-iron, right? Stock 4-iron? I could hit hybrid as well and play a fade. And what's the wind doing?
East-northeast is off your right. Huh? Yeah.
I mean,
I like the hybrid more than that.
it's 230 hole.
Yeah. I just
You
think it fits the shape of the hole better and it gives you more margin for room, you know. I feel like a 4-iron is perfect.
Yeah, I mean the lie's okay. I gotta kind of hit it a groove low.
Okay.
But I still like this. I mean, if it ends up going long left, it's not bad, you know?
No, I agree.
Lie is okay.
What's your start line here? Just
I'm at the middle of the green bunker. You said it's off the right a little?
yeah, I just don't feel much of that right here.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah,
it's not off the left. It's just no wind.
Correct. Yep. Good target.
Better to be in the pine straw than the second cut. Can spin the ball. And that's why they're taking the hybrid. Start at left center with a little fade. Plenty of weaponry.
3 shots back. Huge moment on Sunday at the Masters for Jordan Spieth.
Go. 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 Go.
It went. It's still going. Jordan Spieth has that for eagle at 13.
And give Michael Greller an assist.
Amazing.
I know a lot of amateurs think that there's no point having this detailed plan of exactly what you want to do with the shot. It's all well and good for that tour pro to be picking a really specific target, but for us, who's got pretty much no chance of hitting it, isn't that just a waste of time? But no, that's actually the point. Having a precise idea and vision of how you want to hit the shot does 2 things. One, it really focuses you in on exactly what you're trying to do, which gives you a better chance of hitting a good shot. And 2, it means that even if you miss that exact target, you've left yourself in a spot that isn't too much trouble. And that ties into my next point, which is that Liam knew exactly where he could and couldn't miss. So one of the biggest things that helped him score well, he shot 1 under gross on the day, was that he knew exactly where he couldn't afford to hit it. So on almost every shot, you heard him say it quite a few times, oh, I can't afford to hit this one left, or, you know, this has got to stay right. And he paid pretty much as much attention to that as where he was actually trying to hit it. Even a player as good as Liam knows that he's not going to hit every shot exactly where he wants to, but by picking good targets, he knows that if he misses his exact target by a little bit left or right, he's still in a perfectly good spot where he can make a par or even a birdie. And quite a few times he missed the green, but he left himself in a spot where it was quite an easy up and down that he'd hope to make 9 times out of 10. So Liam would be the first one to tell you that he didn't play his best golf on the day. It's pretty hard when you're trying to film and play at the same time, he said that himself. But he was still able to go around under par because his course management was so good. The best players in the world make the course easier for themselves by picking good targets that they can afford to miss by a little bit. And we're obviously nowhere near as good at executing shots or at kind of rescuing ourselves from tricky situations as them. So it's even more important that we don't put ourselves in those horrible positions in the first place. Another part of that is that Liam knew when to be aggressive and when not to. He certainly didn't go after every pin, which is something that as amateurs we sometimes just fall into the trap of. We've got a wedge in our hand, we laser the pin, we know the yardage, and we just try and hit it exactly at the pin like we're trying to slam dunk it. Whereas Liam, even sometimes with quite a short iron in his hand, he wasn't going straight at the pin. He didn't mind leaving himself a little bit further as long as he was on the safe side and he wasn't putting himself in potential trouble. I mean, pins are put in tactical positions. That's part of course design. So there's a reason that a pin is tucked on the front right of the green with a bunker in front of it. It's designed to catch you out if you go for it and don't get it right. So the best thing you can do is just don't give it a chance to catch you out. So let's say the pin is tucked on the very right edge of the green and there's a big drop off if you miss the green. So if you aim straight at that pin and you miss it a bit right, you've left yourself in a really horrible position with an almost impossible up and down. Whereas if you aim a bit left of that pin, you can't really get caught out unless you hit a terrible shot. I mean, no core strategy can ever cover you from hitting absolute shockers. You know, you might be aiming in the most sensible position in the world, but if you hit a cold shank, there's not a lot that core strategy can do about that. So yeah, let's say that pin's on the right hand side, but you aim a bit more towards the middle of the green. So if you hit it exactly straight, you've got a half decent birdie chance. If you pull it a bit, you're still on the green, or you've got a lot of green to work with your chip, so you've got a very good chance of making par. And if you push it a bit, then you've pretty much knocked it stiff. So either way, unless, like I said, you hit an absolute shocker, you're going to walk off there with a par or a birdie. Whereas if you went for the pin and you pushed it just a tiny bit, suddenly you're really, really struggling to make par. Now the last thing I noticed in terms of difference between me and Liam was putting. So the old saying goes, drive for show, putt for dough, basically meaning that it's all well and good hitting great drives and they're impressive to watch, but it's putting that makes the biggest difference in your scores and separates the winners and losers. But then people really looked into the data, started looking at things like strokes gained, and really smart people like Mark Brody basically calculated that actually over the course of a season, it's your long game that has a much bigger impact in your scores compared to somebody else than your chipping and putting. Now, I don't want to get into a big debate about that today, that's a topic for another video, but in a sort of one round or one match basis, definitely putting had a much bigger bearing on the result of our match than anything else. So at times Liam was bombing it like 80 yards past me off the tee, and that does give him quite a big advantage. So he might be hitting a pitching wedge in and I might have a 6 iron, so that obviously is going to give him an advantage, but it's not a full shot advantage. Whereas if we're on the green and I 3-putt and he 2-putts, that is one full shot that he's gained over me. And sadly, that happened quite a few times. Liam won the match 2-1 with the handicap and 5-3 off scratch. If I'd done absolutely nothing else other than cut out the 3-putts, I'd have won 2-1 off handicap, and Liam still would have won off scratch, but I wouldn't have been handing him holes and it would have been a lot closer. How many 3-putts did I have? 4. How many 3-putts did Liam have? None. If you've watched my video about the difference between us and tour pros, you'll know that pretty much everybody 3-putts sometimes, but I felt like all of mine were completely unacceptable. None of them were from particularly far away or massively difficult putts. I mean, I know obviously the greens are not what I'm used to and I'm borrowing a putter and all that kind of stuff, but nonetheless, I think all of those situations I should have been able to 2-putt. Let's face it, Liam's putting was just a lot more solid than mine. And whereas we can't all expect to match Liam's driving, I mean, he's had his swing speed clocked at 129 miles an hour before.
That's fast!
Not many of us are ever going to achieve that. There's nothing really to stop us all matching his ability on the greens. So there you go, I hope that was useful. I'm really glad that everybody enjoyed the videos of the match against Liam and found those useful. I've got another couple of matches like this lined up soon. One against a guy off +1 who's trying to qualify for the Open this year, and another one against a guy off scratch. So hopefully I'll get beaten a little bit less severely in those ones. In the meantime, let me know if you agree or disagree with the stuff that I learnt from playing with him, and if there's anything else that you spotted from those videos that I haven't covered, let me know. So anything else that stood out for you in terms of his game compared to mine. No, I don't just mean that he's a lot better than me, you love him a lot more than me.
I'm not jealous!
Oh, no, man, she's not jealous.